Go. Hey, everybody. All right. So here is our call for the night. If you are new here, I think we have a couple of new names in here. These are really laid back calls. You are welcome to keep your camera off. You can turn it on. You can talk and ask questions. You can put stuff in the chat. You don't have to participate at all. It is completely up to you how much you want to be involved in the call itself. I try to keep my swearing to a minimum, but I can't always guarantee that. So if you have little ears, I sincerely apologize if they learn a new word today. Aside from that, I will start with a couple of announcements and then I'll dive into our topic, which is going to be really, really, really helpful tonight. Going to go through a lot of things that'll probably be pretty eye-opening for you. And then afterwards, obviously, if there's any questions on this topic or anything else that I can help with, I am always happy to do that for you. So starting out with some announcements, we have a new February step challenge that is coming up. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because it's actually going to be pretty awesome. Yes, we have our blackout board still going for January. We're going to do a submission for that on February 1st, just like always. But this February step challenge, it was something that we came up with that I think is going to be really, really awesome. So as many of you know, I got a walking pad for my stand-up desk, and it has made all of the difference. I went from having like a struggle of 7,000 steps to easily 15 to 17,000 steps a day. And it has totally improved not only my back pain, but it's keeping me awake. I have a better mood, all the things, right? I don't have like shooting pain going down the front of my leg anymore like I used to from sitting for too long. There's a lot of benefits to it. And so I wanted to bring you a step challenge, but I wanted to bring it to you with a twist. So every day in February, our goal is going to be hitting at least 10,000 steps a day. I don't care if you do that going up and down your staircase. I don't care if you do that at work. I don't care if you do that on a treadmill. If you go outside in the weather, you can hit your 10,000 steps however you want. So there's that. Next, it is going to be, you can do it for free and submit it for free, and that's awesome. Or starting on Monday the 22nd, we can do a $10 buy-in. Now, if you do the $10 buy-in and you hit 10,000 steps every single day in February and then submit the board in the Facebook group, it's going to be really simple, right? Then you'll be entered to win either a walking pad that I buy for you or a pair of On Cloud shoes, which is my favorite day-to-day shoes. They slip on. You don't have to tie the suckers. They are like weather resistant. I believe like they're not going to be great in snow, right? But when I wear them in the weather and stuff, they are fantastic. I have washed them in the washing machine a number of times. They hold up. They're wonderful. So I wanted to bring that opportunity to you guys. So that way, whoever wins will be able to choose if I send them a walking pad like mine, which folds up and fits underneath my desk, or I will send you a pair of your choice of On Cloud shoes. So that is going to be how that looks. It's a simple $10 buy-in. I'll accept money via Venmo or PayPal, or for my special individuals that don't have those, yes, I will accept a check from you in the mail. That is a-okay. I've done that before as well. And then what you'll do is I have a calendar that we'll send out. You'll be able to check that off. You can participate. You'll submit it on March 1st in the Facebook group. And then all of the people that bought in, that completed every single day, you will be entered to win. I'll pick a random winner. You get to choose your thing, and then it shows up on your doorstep. It's pretty awesome. So that's what that's going to look like. It encourages people to just move more. It encourages you to get those steps in, and then it makes it even better because it makes it easier for you to get your steps in with a new pair of shoes or a walking pad for your office. So there's that. So if you have any questions on it, let me know. But I'm going to be posting about that in announcements in the group everywhere on the 22nd. So that way, if you want to get into it, get it registered ahead of time, you can get your board ahead of time, you'll be ready to rock and roll on February 1st for it. The only other announcements I have is please keep on sending feedback on the workouts. If you're doing my workouts in my app, it is super helpful for me to see like how hard you feel like they are, any sort of modifications that you have to make, or if you feel like they're too hard, or if you love them, please keep sending that information back so I kind of know what to program in the future, how hard to push, if I'm pushing too hard, if I need to pull back here and there, like just keep sending that honest feedback. It's incredibly helpful to me. And then also any sort of topics that you want to learn about on these calls, please send those topics my way. If there's something that you heard about that you want to understand more, whether that's nutrition or workouts or a lifestyle or mentality piece, or something that you've heard in the past, like something you struggle with to understand, whatever it is that you want me to dive into, I will learn about and I will bring you resources and we will cover it on a call. But I want to know what you guys want to learn about, because if you're learning about things you want to hear, then it's going to help you do better. So if you have any of those topics on the top of your head, send them my way. Aside from that, please keep sharing about our group, our app, any posts or podcasts that I make that you find helpful. Just send them out or share them as you see fit with people that you think they would benefit or that you think would love to hear that kind of information. Invite them into the group. That stuff is absolutely amazing and very, very, very appreciated. And then if you do make any first form orders, please continue to send those first form order numbers my way that start with a 1P. Those are always extremely helpful for me as well. So that's all I have for announcements. Now, as far as tonight's call, we're going to talk about empty calories versus nutrient dense calories. I'm going to go through kind of an array of information for you that kind of paints a picture, because I feel like if you can understand how things work in your body when you eat different types of things, you can relate it to you and how you felt after you've eaten this kind of thing or after you've done that kind of thing or whatever. And that helps solidify it in your mind so you understand, when I make this choice, this is my likely future, right? And if you can understand that, you can correlate that, it might help you make a different choice when you move on in another situation. So first and foremost, calories. Those are the energy that something provides to your body. In layman's terms, that's, my own definition, essentially, in my own words, but calories are just the amount of energy that something provides to your body, whether it is through a drink that has calories in it or it is food. That is what it is, okay? Many of us, including myself growing up, had been taught that calories are all equal, and fat loss and fat gain is simply calories in versus calories out. So you have to be eating more than what you're expending in order to gain weight, and then you need to eat less than what you were expending in order to lose weight. That's what many of us have been told. However, there's way more to it than that. So a lot of us were always essentially taught that if you eat less, you will weigh less, regardless of the types of food that you are eating. That kind of comes back to the if it fits your macros lifestyle. Not so much the case. You may lose weight by doing things that way, but it'll likely be muscle tissue and that you are losing instead of fat. And low quality foods are going to add a ton of inflammation to your body as well, which is going to be that bloat. It's going to be that gut pain. It's going to be like sore joints and that kind of thing. That inflammation is often from these empty calorie type foods. So when I talk about empty calories, what I am referring to is the overprocessed foods that add up to a lot of calories. However, they do not add up to a lot of nutrients. So we add up to a crap ton of calories, but we have absolutely hardly any nutritional value as far as vitamins, minerals go. So low quality, high calorie, low nutrition foods are going to include, and this is the generalization, right? Things like pizza, cake, ice cream, cookies, alcohol, soda, French fries, fast foods, deep fried foods, chips. You're catching my drift here, right? All of those really addictive type foods. The reason why these are necessary to limit, I didn't say eliminate, I said limit. The reason to limit is because of the additives, the preservatives, and the excess ingredients that are used to make them. So, food scientists, and if you didn't know this, there are podcasts about it, and I'd love to share them with you if you want those. Like, let me know. I will find them. I will send you the links so you can listen, because it's absolutely amazing to hear these kinds of things from the experts themselves. But food scientists have literally created foods in order to make them more addictive to you. They test people's brains, and then they see which food combinations make the brain light up more in comparison to other foods, signaling a more addictive and dopamine response. Then they choose that combination to create your foods out of, so that you automatically want more. That is why it is so hard to only have one. You can hardly ever only have one cookie. You can hardly ever have only one chip, right? There's always that craving to want more. It's because they have literally tested it to see how the brain will light up when you have different types of food combinations like that in your body, and it's insane. So these excess ingredients are often seen as foreign to your body as well. So when you take in these types of ingredients, that means that they will be the cause of excess gut and body inflammation. So if you ever have some sort of like a really off food or a poor food choice, you may notice not so much in your gut. That's where I feel it most when I like eat something off, is I'm going to feel it in my digestion really bad. My stomach kind of cramps up. I get all sorts of gross gassy. It's super fun. But a lot of people actually feel it in their joints. They'll feel it in their elbows, their shoulders, their knees, their ankles, their back. And when you start to feel it in your joints, that's also inflammation that's building up because of those poor food qualities. It's also going to lead to poor signals sent to the brain, which can cause a lot of poor mood, depression, sadness, more cravings, and even worse things down the road that it can turn into. But you might notice that is if you've had maybe a weekend away, or you went out and you had like a full day of eating random stuff or whatever, you may notice the next day or even after that meal that you just kind of are short tempered, or you're kind of in a bad mood, or you kind of just get snappy. And that is often because those foods just don't make you feel good. And maybe you don't realize that, but your body's telling you that. So now we can also apply the same type of stuff to the diet foods, right? Like traditional diet foods. Many of them will also come in that prepackaged and labeled low calories, sugar-free, fat-free, etc. Things like that. Just because it's in the health section of the supermarket doesn't mean that it is an A-OK situation, right? We need to make sure that we're looking at this stuff, and not everything is great. Like, we need to back away when we look at them, because when you look at these diet foods that are calorie free or really, really low in calories and all this stuff, it's often because they're also laden with excess preservatives, fake sugars, and addictive combinations as well. So these can also add to a ton of inflammation throughout the body, and especially in the gut. These fake preservatives and sugars can actually pull apart the tight junctures in your gut, causing what they call permeable gut and like leaky gut syndrome. And that leads to all kinds of other things. And I'm 99% sure what I struggled with. So really, really, really taking that into account, that just because it's a diet food or found in the health section, it's not necessarily what you should be choosing most of the time. Okay. Um, so what this brings us to is whole food. Now, I'm not saying that we have to go whole food forever all the time, but I really want this to be a priority for you most of the time. And that's going to be your optimal choice. And we're going to go through why. There's a lot of nutrients in whole foods, micronutrients, minerals, vitamins, fiber, very minimal to no added ingredients. Typically, when you go to like eat an avocado, its ingredient is avocado, right? Like, you don't have to get super concerned about all the different additional things in there. Um, the thing about whole foods is often they are going to be higher in total calories. And this is what scares people about whole foods, which is why so many of you are afraid of said avocados. Because if you look at an avocado, holy crap, that's a lot of fat. We don't need to eat the whole avocado in one sitting, you guys. Okay. We need to remember that. This is why a lot of you won't eat a potato. There's nothing wrong with a sweet potato. There's nothing wrong with a russet potato. If it fits into your macro budget, into your nutrition budget, then that's what I would suggest to utilize for your carbohydrates. That's great. It's a great source of food. It's a whole food. Its only ingredient is potato. How awesome is that? We know what we're eating. Another thing, some fruits like pineapple, papaya, mangoes. These are amazing fruits for your body. They have incredible micronutrients for you, but we're afraid to have them because their carbohydrate number is so high. But it's a good source of carbohydrate. There's a big difference in added sugar and natural sugar. There's fiber versus not fiber, right? So we need to really remember that whole foods, whole fruits, whole vegetables, whole starches, these things are going to be a much more optimal choice for our bodies than having something that is fake or a health food or a super processed option. But something else I really wanted to turn into, or emphasize is the body actually burns more calories working to digest and pull these nutrients out of the whole foods, making their thermic effect of food higher. Thermic effect of food is how many calories your body burns in order to digest the food. I mean, let's just think about it, right? How many calories do you think your body's going to burn eating a potato chip versus having a potato? You can tell there's a massive difference here, right? So if it takes a lot longer for your body to work to pull the nutrients out of your potato, it's going to cause more of a caloric burn in order to get all of those nutrients out. And that's only going to benefit you more as far as a caloric burn goes, but it's also going to give you more nutrients instead of the potato chip, which gone in a second, which is why you want 50 more, right? And you're not getting any nutrients out of that one. So that's like a huge difference. The fiber content in whole grains, fruits, veggies is higher, slowing down digestion, which is going to help balance blood sugar spikes and reduce cravings and crashes. What happens when we don't have cravings and we don't have crashes? We don't crave more stuff. All of a sudden we can walk by the candy bowl at work and we have full confidence to keep walking by. Or people are going to have, appetizers when you go out with work friends and you pass on them because you're like, oh, you know what? Onion rings don't really sound that great right now because you already feel good. You don't need to have those things. You don't have those cravings because your fiber content is there. You're already balancing your blood sugars. It becomes that much easier. But if all you've had that day is, white bread and candy bowl and coffee, well, those onion rings are going to look really damn good to you. And if you do that, then that's going to be really, really, really hard to manage. So that fiber makes a huge difference for you. The body sees these foods as natural and they build a strong microbiome. And this is huge. So, did you know that gut bacteria actually thrive on processed sugars? Bad gut bacteria thrive on processed sugars. So, when we have processed sugars or even like real sugar, right? If you're using real sugar to make cookies or something, right? Your bad gut bacteria are going to see that sugar and it's going to be like, ooh, let's grow more bad bacteria. It flourishes. So what happens is it causes more of those bad bacteria to grow, and then it outbalances, throws out of balance the good bacteria to the bad. So now the bad's higher. So who do you think controls your cravings more? Your bad bacteria that thrive on sugar are suddenly going to be craving a lot more sugar because there's more of them. Right? Whereas if you only have a little bit of that from time to time, your gut bacteria stay in balance and all of a sudden you're in more control. You're not so worried about having to have the cookies that your kid brings home. You're not so worried about having to participate in having all of the things, right? You can have more control over that when your gut bacteria are more in balance. When we eat whole food, our good gut bacteria start to balance out the bad. So we find ourselves craving more whole food than the bad stuff, than the processed stuff. It makes it so much easier to stay on track and to feel good, right? I'm not even worried so much about you guys staying on track and hitting numbers. I'm more concerned about you feeling good and being healthy, right? So this is going to be a huge piece that really, really plays a big role for a lot of you. Um, and just like some hit home points, all of this to say the quality of calories 100% matters. It's not just the calories in versus the calories out. Your quality 100% matters. Where you're getting those calories from most of the time absolutely matters. The number of calories from quality food or not do matter too. So tracking and like staying within your nutrition goals is still important, right? You can't just go and have 12 avocados and a million potatoes and 4 steaks and think that you're going to be fine. That's a lot of calories. You're still going to gain weight on that. Let's just remember, even if we're having whole food, we need to stay inside of our caloric budget, right? Inside of our macro budget. That's where we want to put all of these good foods within. And then eventually what's really cool is you'll all of a sudden like reach your goal and be able to have all of these whole foods and you can have so many calories because they're all actually good for you. And you can maintain your weight, your goals, your progress without feeling like you're always starving. It's amazing. Choosing whole food more often can lead to better food relationships as well. This is a point that I really wanted to touch on, that I kind of brought up earlier, but when you don't crave, you don't feel deprived. And when you don't feel deprived, you don't feel the need to binge on things when you have access to them. That is a huge hit home piece that I think will help a lot of you understand. You're eventually able to enjoy some processed foods in moderation without feeling controlled by them. I used to not be able to have M&Ms in my house because I would eat the whole container. And when I say the whole container, I mean like the Sam's Club container, right? I now have that container in my cabinet and I haven't had any M&Ms in weeks. I had a couple around Christmas and that's it, right? All of a sudden you can enjoy the sugar cookie with your kids or you can enjoy the ice cream cone and it doesn't become this big controlling piece of you. You can manage it a lot better because you don't have the cravings. You don't have the depriving feeling that you feel like you're always having to starve or skip things. We need to work them in, but if we have some of these things on occasion, you're not going to throw your gut bacteria off so bad. But when we're having them every single day or we're having way too many every single day, you're going to be at a fighting battle. So I want you guys to really think that through. When you make this choice, is it going to lead you to this outcome? Is that the outcome you want? You felt that way before. Now, if we make this choice, is that going to take you to the outcome that you actually want? That's going to help you really start to determine which way to go with things. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. What questions do we have? Do we have any questions, any comments, anything I can help with before I let you go? Awesome. Well, hopefully you guys had some good takeaway points tonight. If you come up with any questions afterwards, obviously reach out. Always happy to help with whatever. Have an amazing evening. I'll talk to you all later. Bye, everybody.